The Annals of the Cakchiquels. Cakchiquels. The Annals of the Cakchiquels. Alright? Title: The Laws of the Totonicapon. Check it out. I tried to get a PDF. I think I have a little bit of a PDF for that. I'll attach, as well as some other drop on it. I'm still combing through this. I just wanted to put it out there because, again, it's not about me coming to some type of decision on how I process it. It's about just giving the drop to you. I'm not one of those processors. I'm not going to process it and say, well, how should I teach the people the way I see it? I just want to give it to you and then kind of comb through it and see how we can connect the dots. Because it's going to be things that we got to hurdle over. Because it's all kind of new, right? But it's all connected, so we got to connect the dots. We got to sepher. We got to sepher these things. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all the family, all the loved ones, man, and everybody that's still hanging in there, man. Still surfing this wave. Let's keep surfing it, man. Let's keep letting the water flow. All right. So this is from page 55. It says, now I'm just going to read it. This is for the Mayans. So this is talking about specifically the Mayan migration, but you'll understand that when you talk about the Mayan migration, you are talking about the Aztec migration as well. You know what I'm saying? So we're putting, we got to erase the titles because they didn't call themselves Maya or Aztec or whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? They were called that. So I'm trying to get back to the root, to the simplest root. So let's see what they're saying and how this matches up with what we're talking about with the migration of Moses and Utah and all that kind of stuff. Specifically, just focus on the Moses, Exodus story right now, because this is going to match up in a lot of ways, and we're trying to tie these things even more. When we arrived at the gates of Tulan, Tulan, we received a red stick, which was our staff. Matter of fact, let me put it up so y'all can already kind of be ahead of me. You can pause it. We'll just check it out. It's page 55, and this is what we're reading here. Just pause it and check it out. We're talking about a stick and a staff and crossing the sea. Was it the Red Sea? Which Red Sea? You know what I'm saying? The Rio Verde in Colorado. Colorado River used to be called different things. You know what I'm saying? So we got a lot of Red Seas, especially here. When we arrived at the gates of Tulan, we received a red stick, which was our staff. And because of that, we were given the name Cakchiquels. Oh, our sons, said Gagavitz and Zetakua. And you're going to notice a lot of Hebrew sounding names, the way they kind of break stuff down. So, be mindful. Let us thrust the points of our staff in the sand under the sea, and we shall cross the sea in the sand, using the red sticks which we went to receive at the gates of Tulan. Oh, yeah. My 1-year-old is trying to take a nap. My wife is battling. She's trying to put him down, make him self-soothe, do all that stuff, man. But you might hear a little bit of that goobling and gobbling. You know what I'm saying? That yippity and yapping from my young king there, man. So apologies in advance. So they received these red sticks, which we went to receive at the gates of Tulan. Thus we passed over the rows of sand, which it widened below the sea and on the surface of the air and on the surface of the sea. So everything started widening. They passed on the surface of the sea. All right. When it widened below the sea and on the surface of the sea, immediately all were rejoiced when they saw the sands below the sea. Thereupon they held council. So now these tribes held a council when they saw the other side. There is our hope. There on the first land we must be reunited, they said. Only there can we be organized now that we have arrived from Tulan. I don't know what that is. Research that Tulan. It might tie into some other stuff we're about to bring out. But they were crossing in from somewhere. Some people say, okay, well, they're crossing in from the Middle East over there. You know what I'm saying? we gotta, I'm gonna throw some stuff out. We don't know, you know what I'm saying? But they were coming from somewhere. So when people say, where did they come from? All these inquiries, all these scholars trying to say, where did y'all come from? Not everybody just says we came just across from that particular piece of land. Some others say that we came from another piece of land. You know what I mean? So it's things that we need to understand. And everything's being grouped together. We're trying to sort it all out. But it does all tie back to the Creator, and all tie back to the seed of Jacob. You know what I'm saying? And these are all in these recordations in the annals. How would you know about this unless you dug it up yourself? So this is not the trickery. We're trying to just, pull the babies out the bathwater here. Don't throw the babies out with the bathwater. We're trying to understand. All right? There we go. So, thereupon they held council. They plunged forward then and passed over the sand. Those who came at the rear entered the sea, and we emerged from the waters on the other bank. Afterwards, the 7 tribes became fearful. Then all the warriors spoke, and the 7 tribes said, have you not seen our gifts? Have we not humbled ourselves before you, O lords, O warriors? Did we not come with you to the east? Have we not come to seek our mountains and our valleys? Our mountains, our valleys. So they're coming home. They're not saying we're in a foreign land. They're saying we're coming to seek what's ours, which is what we tied in earlier, that this is a land promised to Abraham. This is Shem's land, and these are Shem's people. And we're going to tie that in. Have we not come to seek our mountains and our valleys? Have you not seen our gifts, the great feathers, the blue feathers, and the garlands? Thus spoke the 7 tribes united in council, and saying, it is well. The 7 tribes ended their conference. All right. And shout out, I'll remember the brothers' names that put me up on this, because I should definitely give them credit and love. I do have it, and I will actually link it. But it's on our site, 432 to drop. You can go on categories, go on seed drop, and you'll see Mayans cross the Red Sea. And you'll see these great brothers, man, bringing this out. So, kings to them. All right. So they had their council. It is well. The 7 tribes ended the conference. Thereupon they went towards the place called Tiozacuanacu. This is page 56 now. So go ahead and look at that. Pause it all the way down to the bottom. Pause it. I won't read all the way down, but you got it at least. You know what I'm saying? So you got it. Alright. And thereupon we went to the place called Tiozacuanacu. They all went there, and afterwards they journeyed to another place called Meahahua. Sounds like a Hebrew, right? Meahauh. Meahahua. Where they gathered together. Then leaving Meahahua, they reached another place called Valval, XUCXUC, whatever that is, quack quack, where they rested. They gathered together once more, and leaving there, they arrived at the places called Takpu and Aloman. And it goes on and on, right? So let's go to 170 here. All right, together. This would not be a long video. No. I refuse. Got a little time before... he's waking up again. I gotta hurry up, man. About to be on daddy daycare, y'all. All right, so I'm trying to do this, squeeze it in. So here's when it gets good. Here's the good part. All right. So we got the chiefs of the 3rd Quiches tribe. Q. All right, put this up so you can get it. This is page 170. Sorry, I gotta kind of rush, but I gotta get it in. All right, there's a little bit of that drop. All right, so the chiefs of the 3rd Quiches tribe or nation were also 4, and they are, I can't even say these names, but you see it on the page. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even gonna try. But where am I? And they are these guys. So check that out. All right. These were the trunk and root of the houses and families of Gala-Ciha and of, like tsunami, but Tzununi-ha. But this tribe distinguished itself with the name. Damn, is that Jacob? Is that Jacob? I didn't even read this part yet. I just kind of went up a little. I haven't really read this. I just kind of read parts of it. I just want to share with you what I have so far. But see where my finger is and tell me if that's Jacob. They were the root of the whole operation. Iako. Remember, there's no J's, right? So that's how it would be written out. And that's what's their tribal name. So we're going to see names that confuse us. Some of them have like Baal or Baal, or, you know, looks like, oh, Baal, you know, that type of thing. Yeah, we know our people went off, but did the people, you know what I'm saying, present at that time call these leaders these things, or were these names kind of put in later? You know what I'm saying? When these things started being written out and interpreted and say, okay, yeah, that must be this, and that. You know what I'm saying? Was the original people walking and crossing with these people, calling them those particular names, or were they inserted through the time as, you know, they really started going off in different ways, in different directions, following different things, you know what I'm saying? But here at least we're getting some type of matching up of biblical records, especially with the Exodus, and it's going down. And it leaves us to imagine even further. All right? So, these were the trunk and root of the houses of the families of Gala-Ciha and of Tzununi-ha. But this tribe distinguished itself with the name Ilocab. These then were the three nations of Quiches, and they came from where the sun rises, descendants of Israel, of the same language and the same customs. You can see it right there for yourself. No one's trying to confuse you. We are bringing this out and connecting it. We just dropped how, you know, Negroes, so-called Negroes, are the oldest inhabitants of Mexico. You can check that video out. And that were almost extinct according to their records. They were saying, man, you know, these people were almost extinct. They didn't link us with everybody else until later when they wanted to take our land. We became linked with everything, and they put us in one place. And Darwinism came and said, everything's coming out of Africa, you know, all that kind of stuff. And we all know the rest of the story. You know, the movie Roots, and that's when we started really getting plugged into this image. And if they're pushing it, we got to step back. Remember, this is a frequency war. Whenever you find yourself arguing on the same side as your opponent, of your main opponent, your main deceiver, the master of deception, and you're talking about your habitat, and they're telling you and putting images out and promoting a round ball, you better step back and say, are they giving me the drop about my habitat? This is mine. I know, you know, when you find yourself arguing on the side of NASA, you don't want to be nowhere near these guys when this thing hits the fan and it's about to go down. This information's coming out about all this fake stuff, man. So you don't want to be down. Don't use NASA as a source. Don't use astronomy and science as your source. The scriptures say, man, I'm going to make these wise men look foolish at the end times. If you plug into the so-called wisdom of this world, you're going to be made a fool of. I'm telling you in advance. Don't agree with your enemy about your habitat. Okay? Don't agree with them about your seed, who you are. If they say everybody's Africa, we should go back to Africa, you better step back and say, why are you grouping us all of a sudden? I mean, did we not have tribes and nations? Did we not have our own tribal conflicts and our own tribal alliances and all this kind of stuff? So everybody's grouped here together. So, you know, some people feeling this, some people ain't. Your energy is going to bring you closer to who you are and what you are and what you about. I'm not saying, oh, if you ain't feeling me, you must be there. I'm just saying, man, like, it's just drop. We're deciphering together, right? So let's keep doing it. So they distinguish their name. All right. So it says, these then were the three nations of Quiches, and they came from where the sun rises, descendants of Israel, of the same language and same customs. Here's where we're keying in. Remember, there's always having one major part, and this is the part I really want us to focus in on. When they rose from Pa-Tulan, Pa-Sivan, the first leader was Balaam Kitsi. Balaam This is what I'm saying. So they're calling this leader Balaam Kitse. You know, you look at Balaam. I've done a little recon. I tried to. You know what I'm saying? It's going to bring you to Baalam. You know what I'm saying? Some Hindu word for lover, sweetheart, husband. You know what I'm saying? So however they're translating it, they could have said something about, you know, lover, sweetheart, husband, and then they got translated later by the time they got to this. You know what I'm saying? If this happened thousands of years ago, I'm saying that these people thousands of years ago called him Balaam, whatever, or was some of this interjected into these stories over time. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we call him Moses, you know, or X, Y, and Z. So this is what we're, you know, really deciphering here, because they're clearly saying these are Israelites. So they can't be worshiping Baal in its origin, right? I mean, by default, they're saying they're sons of Jacob. They got the magic stick. They putting it down. The rivers are splitting. The Most High is rocking with them, so they can't be rocking with Baal, right? He can't be the creator, right? So we're saying that they're calling him an angel, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, it's a different take, but bear with it, because we're going to try to get the babies and match them up. Let the babies play. Let the babies have a good time. So when they rose, all right, their first leader was Balaam Kitse. Remember that? Balaam Kitse. He's our subject. By unanimous vote, and then the great father, Nakchik, Nacxit, gave them a present called Garan Gagal. When I look down on this footnote, it says, bundle, symbol of power, majesty. They carefully kept stone, which as related further on, made the other peoples fear and respect them. So they had some magic stones that made people fear and respect them. Could that be the Ark of the Covenant? It made everybody fear and respect it. That means that thing was a war box. Remember, I said there's a war box buried in Utah, and the tribes locally there say that anybody who's tried to touch it has died. As well as the gold, it's cursed for everybody else, but it's left for the descendants of these people who are following someone who parted the ocean for them to get there, or the sea for them to get there. Connect these dots. Let's suffer. This can't be completely, you know, separate from everything else, right? So we know this is connected. It clearly says that these were Israelites in this source. So it says, when they arrived at the edge of the sea, listen in, Balaam Kitse, all right, our subject, Balaam Kitse, touched it with his staff, and at once a path opened, which then closed up again. For thus the great God wished it to be done. Great God. So we know they worship not, you know, you might hear gods, but we understand what gods, you know, are just, you could be angels, you could be, you know, anybody with that particular enlightenment, whatever the case is. But great God lets you know that they knew that there's a great God, a great source, a frequency. So now we're back breaking it down into energy, frequency, vibration. And in this energy, they have a great God, a great spirit, a great source. And that's the creator that we're only supposed to be, you know what I'm saying, focusing on. That's our target. Everything else is hijacked. Focus back on the great God, the creator. And this is where it is. See how it's tying together? All right, King, I hear my king. All right, almost done. All right, so for thus the great God wished it to be done. Again, when they arrived at the edge of the sea, Balaam Kitse touched it with his staff, and at once a path opened, which then closed up again. For thus the great God wished it to be done, because they were sons of Abraham and Jacob. Abraham and Jacob. We saw there's a tribe, Jacob, right? Ilocab. All right. Abraham, Jacob. All right. So it was that those three nations passed through, and with them 13 others called Vakumag. Vukmag. When I look down at the footnote, it says Vakumag, and further on, Vuk, Amag, Tekpang literally means the 7 tribes. In whatever language breakdown this is. But actually, there were 13, 12 tribes plus Dan. Whoa. the Popol-Vuh, which we're going to get into this thing, Popol-Vuh, Popolvuh, Popol-Vuh, alright, calls them Oxluha Tekpon, the 13 of Tekpon. I gotta look up this Tekpon, T-E-C-P-A-N. I know I got some intelligent people on that already. Alright, so somebody named Bresor de Borborg believed them to be the Pokemon, it sounds like Pokemon, but Pokemon and Pakanchi tribes. Alright, so look these up and see how it relates. Clearly we're talking about Israel. Keep saying Abraham and Jacob, right? Okay? So if it's telling you Abraham and Jacob and it's giving you this stuff, you know that they're translating these our indigenous languages. You know, we're just trying to get it out, but we understand that they rock with a great God. Alright, great God. You know, so now we're on point. So we're not just following some Baal, some angel of this and some static, some distortion. You know, these titles are thrown around by the time we get to this publication, but this event happened thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. So those original people walking with him must not have been Baaling it up if they had the Creator rocking with him, in my understanding it this far, especially if they were sons of Jacob, Abraham, and all that. You know, so now looking further, and check this out, man. It's a good joint. Again, I'll try to find a PDF to link some stuff to you. Almost there. So this is really interesting. I just want to kind of take it over. A couple little links here. I'll link this joint. I looked up Keats right here. You can pause it and see what they're saying. And, you know, look it up. I mean, hey, you can't be afraid of information. They bring up Atlantis. Like I said, hey, I believe that's why those Atlantis is all over this place. In Columbus's and Cortez's own logs, they called Haiti Atlantis. I saw a map. I gotta put it up where it had this ancient map where it had Atlantis in between Africa and America. So Atlantis was a big landmass that connected Africa and America. It was right here, and you had Lemuria on the other side of America. So America's sandwiched between Atlantis and Lemuria, which means that all that is really all that land. You know what I'm saying? All that is, you know, I guess what that would be. So this, I'll read it out. It says, according to the cosmological Popol-Vuh, remember we just talked about the Popol-Vuh that they had from the Mayans, the topic of council, their councils, their tribes. He was unanimously elected chief, this Balaam Keats, which we're saying he's Israelite. He's leading the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's putting his staff down and crossing the Red Sea. So I think we all understand that this is a representation of Moses or Moshe. He was unanimously elected chief by the Mamei to lead the old men across the Atlantic Ocean from Patulan Pasivan, their realm drowning behind the eastern horizon. So in this, you know, interpretation, this figure is leading them out from really an island around Atlantis, or maybe one of the last islands that was a part of the sinking islands, that was not quite all the way where Africa is, but possibly in a landmass that was in between Africa and America. And they were literally, you know, escaping that. And again, all this stuff was destroyed. You know, this great God destroyed Atlantis, destroyed Lemuria for these same reasons. You know what I'm saying? While we see this Baal and all this kind of stuff, I mean, they were going after other entities and powers. You know what I'm saying? The Most High had to get rid of it to restart things. But it's descendants, these bloodlines, these lineages, these energies, these seeds, you know what I'm saying, continue to be carved out even from that particular part. And I'm not super knowledgeable about Atlantis and Lemuria, but it's very interesting. I'm still digging it out to see how it connects to the grand scheme, and I think we're connecting it. I don't know exactly what they're talking about in terms of these areas, but you know, maybe they're just putting 2 on 10 or 10 on 2, whatever that is. It says there, but you know, he was elected and led them, the old man, across the Atlantic from Patulan Pasivan, their realm drowning behind the eastern horizon. Balaam Keats or possibly Moses, appears to have been the authentically Atlantean name of a leader who conveyed uh, who conveyed survivors from Atlantis to Yucatan. So they're calling, this situation not necessarily, leaving the landmass that we call Africa now, but they're calling leaving, this Atlantis. And even obviously, if Atlantis connected to Africa, then we also have Atlantis, Africa. All that is our territory, right? So that's why I said we are all one. These are nations, but we got split off from these other ancient situations too. So we don't, things got destroyed, things got shaken up, you know what I'm saying? And now it's getting put back together again. That was thousands of years ago. Now we're putting the world back together again. The world is being renewed. The world is one body. We can stop thinking so separate in terms of the earth and being indigenous here. But we definitely got to support our brothers and sisters, especially the ones where got their information taken, their land taken, their freedoms taken. They've been slaughtered. We almost been made extinct. No one's came to our side but us. So let us build. Let us figure it out. Or help us. All right? Don't take offense and say, oh, you trying to be something else. Help us remember this stuff. Help us put it together. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you had any hand in it. And if you didn't, help anyway. Whoever you are, help. You want to be on the side of this? You know what I'm saying? Help. Be on the side of the Most High. Help his people put this back together, because you're seeing it all over the place, connecting outside of just Bible scriptures. We're seeing the same thing going back, and now you got the whole Atlantis connection thing. That's not just some folklore situation. They're calling it these things, but they also called all this area, Atlantic Ocean, Atlanta. You got a lot of red, there's a lot of things going on to where you can just open your eyes and just see it all around you. All right? So we're ancient ones. We don't have all these titles, Hebrew this. These are just more titles put on titles put on titles. You are a seed of energy that goes back to the creator of this system, this universe, whatever you want to call it. You're a seed that was planted a long time ago, that's been carved out from a long time ago. So stop with the titles. Let's empty our cups and put this together. Together. Because together we got the drop. Together we are Drop Nation. You know what I'm saying? All by ourselves, we just little droplets, Together we got the whole thing. We got the whole puzzle together. Together we got the drop. So that's what they say there. And I'll just read this last part here, which is really interesting as well. I'll try to skip down. It's a lot of great drop. That pretty much, this is only the tipping point. This drop that I'll also connect gives you more of the biblical narrative coming straight from the Aztecs and the Mayans. You know what I'm saying? So, this is the whole thing, the Adam and Eve, and, the creation of Eve and Adam, how the wife, Eve was created to be a helpmeet. This is what they're taking on, and I'll try to read this as quick as possible. It says, but the gods were not wholly pleased with this thing, heaven, right? Heaven, they thought had overshot its mark. These men were too perfect, knew, understood, and saw too much. So they had already created men. All right, so they were saying they knew and understood too much. Therefore, there was counsel again. And when I say they, you understand the Most High has an army of people, rocking with him. So that's what I mean by they. I don't mean by just a whole, But the council, there's a Godhead. There's a leader, there's order. So, that's what you got to understand. With the gods, and they, someone's on top with the order. And that's the creator that we're supposed to connect to personally. Because he's coming back personally. And when you see the footwork, it's hard to deny that this stuff goes back ancient. This ain't no white man's theology about this single God stuff. And all the other systems is this and this and this. And you realize how ancient you are. You're the first inhabitants of this continent. And you were almost made extinct. And this is your records. To add to the other records and match them up and separate them. Connect the dots, right? Alright, so therefore there was a council again in heaven. What shall we do with man now? Is it not good that it is not good, this that we see. These are as gods. So you're saying these people are so intelligent, they are as gods. They would make themselves equal with us. Lo, they know all things, great and small. Let us now contract their sight, so that they may see only a little of the surface of the earth. Why can't I understand it? Why can't I get it? That they may see only a little of the surface of the earth, and be content. So they don't even ask no questions. Let them just see a little bit and be happy with the Kardashians, you know. Thereupon the heart of heaven breathed a cloud over the pupil of the eyes of men, and a veil came over it, as when one breathes on the face of a mirror. Thus was the globe of the eye darkened. So here you got that globe, but they're talking about your eye, and your eye is a globe, right? So when anyone wants to talk about a globe, they can just say ball or globe. They don't have to say circle. Circle is a circle, not a round ball. But shout out to everybody. That's the Isaiah 40:22 reference. Someone made in a comment. But let's go quickly. I got a job to do. All right, so this veil came over. Then 4 men slept, and there was counsel in heaven, and 4 men were made. The Balaam Keats, 2 Balaam Keats was allotted. Kahu Paluma to wife. So this has this Balaam Keats, the same, person who's our suspect, our Moses suspect, right? But he was allotted. So he was like, kind of, like a Adam in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But it was another three other people with him, according to these writings. And he was given a wife. So they were all given wives the same way Adam was, according to this. And there was a Balaam Agab to Kamiah, and there's 3 other ones. Now the women were exceedingly fair to look at, and when the men awoke, their hearts were glad because of the women. All right. So I'm gonna go down, skip down. There's a lot of good drop. I'll let you sort of do a quick pause on that. You can check that out, what I just read, and again I'll paste all this for you. Link it all up. Alright, so here's where we're paying attention. Here's it. Here's where we get our, you know what I'm saying, where our dismount. Here's where we get our Nadia Komanichi. Alright. So, in the light which the Book of Mormon throws upon the subject, however, we are not under the necessity of admitting the Christian influences referred to by Mueller. So this guy named Mueller who starts to try to decipher this stuff, he starts to put in his own Christian influences. And he puts something in about the Messiah and how certain things might be signs that he did exist, possibly here and whatnot. But, that's for you to look up and see the evidence. I haven't really, other than a few kind of loose things he throws out, which could apply, to a lot of different things as well. So, let's get down. Interesting stuff, though. It says, I'm just going to read it. In the light of the Book of Mormon throws upon the subject, however, we are not under the necessity of admitting the Christian influence referred to by Mueller, that is, that the narratives arrived at the biblical knowledge of the creation facts after the advent of the Christians among them. So the Christians tried to spin and say, all this biblical stuff came from us. And of course, we know the drop. Since the Jaredites, they're saying the Jaredites brought with them a knowledge of creation as held by antediluvians. I'm sure somebody already picked that up. And the Nephites, maybe the Nephilim, brought with them a knowledge, which are the fallen angels, right? Of that same account of creation as crystallized in the writings of Moses. So they had, it's like you have the original, then you got, something else. They brought their own version of this. And perhaps that's how they hijacked our indigenous people here, the fallen gods that came and sort of took over shop. There was a reason why we got ran up on. We weren't rocking righteously. We got to be honest about that. We weren't rocking directly with the Creator as a whole. At that point in 1500, when the Holy City fell, to Columbus, as in is documented by Columbus. Go back and look at all that drop, man. So here's it. Here's the dismount. In contemplating the religious systems of the Aztecs. Whoa, so we went from Mayans, now we're right there at the Aztecs. Now we're right back in Utah. Alright, now we're right back in Aztlan, which is what Utah used to be called, the home of the Aztecs. That's the homeland of the Aztecs. Aztlan, which spread out all past Utah, Colorado, all that other stuff. Just one is struck with its apparent ingenuity, as if some portion of it had emanated from the comparatively refined people. I'll read that again. In contemplating the religious systems of the Aztecs, one is struck with its apparent incongruity, as if some portion of it had emanated from a comparatively refined people open to gentle influences, while the rest breathes a spirit of unmitigated ferocity. It naturally suggests the idea of two distinct sources. So you got some people pushing these Aztecs in their gentle light. Other people were pushing Aztecs as just savage, savage, savage. So when you hear it today, Aztec savage, Aztec savage, Aztec savage, it's the same thing as nigga crazy, nigga broke, nigga this, you know what I'm saying? It's like, they didn't call themselves Aztecs. So everything's being put on these people. And again, we understand that they have fallen off in a lot of ways. But we have to understand their origin. Once we get to the origin, we can get back to concrete matching up scripture by scripture. Deuteronomy 38. You follow that trail. Shout out to Lex Will on that all day. Every single town in Deuteronomy 34 is in Utah and was there before the Mormons named them. They came with ancient maps and said, okay, yeah, that's Mount Nebo, that's Mount. They came later. We were already here. They got here and then tried to reclaim some stuff. Just like Columbus came for the holy city, they came looking for Aztec gold. They came looking for all the other holy things. And they said, okay, this must be the holy spot. Mount Nebo, Mount Pisgah, Moab. You know what I'm saying? That's where it all went down. There's Gilead, you know, Daniel, Utah. So why change the name from Dan to Daniel if you're not hiding something? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they didn't come with some original names there. They just renamed. You know what I'm saying? So in contemplating the religious systems of the Aztecs, one is struck with an apparent ingenuity, as if some portion of it had emanated from a comparatively refined people open to gentle influences, while the rest breathes a spirit of unmitigated ferocity. It naturally suggests the idea of two distinct sources and authorities, the belief that the Aztecs had inherited from their predecessors a milder faith. So it naturally suggests the idea of two distinct sources and authorities, the belief that the Aztecs had inherited from their predecessors a milder faith, on which was afterwards engrafted their own mythology. So this second source came with their own mythology and put it on top of the Aztecs, other than the more milder faith version. And it says the latter, which was the savage version, right? The latter, which was the engrafted in their own mythology version, the latter soon became dominant. So now everybody's just talking about the savage stuff, right? Not the actual gentle faith of these people, which, as we see, they were following someone who parted a sea for them to get there, and they called themselves after the tribe of Jacob, and they were sons of Jacob and Abraham, and you can break down the Hebrew even in the Mayan writings. So much matches up with that, which I'll also share with you. So I've got a lot of drop, I'll try to remember to link them all in. It naturally suggests the idea of two distinct sources and authorities, the belief that the Aztecs had inherited from their predecessors a milder faith, on which was afterwards engrafted their own mythology. The latter became dominant and gave its dark coloring to the creeds of the conquered nations, which the Mexicans, like the ancient Romans, seem willingly to have incorporated into their own, until the same funeral superstition settled over the furthest borders of Anahuac. And I'll put it up there for you can get that. Okay. man, you know, right there. Check it out, pause it, and do what you gotta do. So yeah, family, this is how we do it. I appreciate you for letting me get down. This is the Annals of the Cakchiquels. Cakchiquels. And this is that drop. Check it out. It's published at the University of Oklahoma. So this is sitting somewhere in the library of the University of Oklahoma. Everybody's just chilling, sneaking snacks in the library right now. I've been there, trust me. And they don't understand, man. I had someone publish this in their library. This ain't chump change. And again, shout out to these good brothers, and I'll link them, you know what I'm saying, for the drop. So stay up. This is, you know, something for us all to put together, but I see a lot of similarities and a lot of concrete stuff here, man. And we can link that so we understand the connection between us, this land, and these people are all one thing. And we are returning to our orientation. We're returning, you know what I'm saying, for order. We just want order. We want to give all praise, man, and much love to Hey, the Most High Creator. You know what I'm saying? I am that I am. You know what I'm saying? The King of, you know what I'm saying, Israel. Kwam Yasharala. You know what I'm saying? The King of the universe, man. When we say that, it's just a seed. You know, you hear Israel, you go crazy. You know, you go into religious mode. It's documented, not just in some white man Bible. All right? Is the white man the Mayan? Is the white man, you know, come on, man. Come on, man. Certain things predate that. Certain influences predate that. This is not some type of hologram. You know what I'm saying? Love to the fam, man. This is concrete, man. This is your history. Either you with it or you ain't. Either you can link yourself up indigenously to your land, regardless of if you know your specific tribe. They know they came from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they called it out. So you got to call it out. You know what I'm saying? You have an inheritance here. So wake up, suit up, choose up. Much love, man. Have a great day, family. Thanks again, man, for everybody coming with nothing but love and drop. You know what I'm saying? And I want to keep it that way. Obviously, you know, we're going to have static. But, you know what I'm saying? We'll just let that static pass by and just keep climbing. Because the more we climb, the more static is going to come out of nowhere. It's going to be weird name, people popping up, saying things. It's just like, I hate this, like, you know what I'm saying? Don't let that stuff confuse you. Focus on the message. Focus inwardly. Don't let anybody else have to lead it for you. Research so you can see it yourself, read it yourself, you know what I'm saying? And I think we'll all be in a much better space. So again, much love to you, man, and Kwam Yasharala. Let's do it. Till next time, good people.